Alright, today I'm going to be comparing the Ibanez S and RG body shapes. Now this is not going to be a review of these specific guitars, but I'm just talking about the body shapes, the playing feel and experience of both of them, just so you can get some good information and know the difference between these. And before we get into this, I just have to say, I am not sponsored by any of the brands shown. I'm not some amazing guitar virtuoso, I'm just some guy on the internet who clearly likes guitars, as you can see behind me. I'm not in some amazing touring band, I'm not a guitar virtuoso. I do the casual music thing online, so YouTube videos. I've got my music on streaming services of Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon, Apple, etc. Check it out if you want to. Anyway, let's jump right in. So what are the differences between these guitars? Let's start with the RG body shape. So the Ibanez RG, it's the typical super strat. You could see it has that kind of blocky body. It has that forearm carve away right here, very comfortable. And of course it's not just flat on the top, but it's flat on the back too. So it has that belly carve right here, as you can see. So it integrates with the body pretty well, especially for me. I'm getting on in years. It fits right in, whether you're sitting down or you're standing up. It has 24 frets and all 24 frets are clearly accessible. You can play with your thumb over or you can play with your thumb behind and it's okay. You can hit the lower horn if you're really doing the extreme thumb behind the neck, as you could see, but you have to be really trying to do that. So while there's no special carves on the back of the lower horn, you can still reach all the frets just fine for most normal playing positions. It is also a fairly large guitar, so if you have more of a smaller stature, it might be a bit big, but overall it's pretty universal. So about the flat top, it does mean you're going to be kind of reaching over the guitar to play it. It does have the forearm carve right here, so it's not like a Telecaster kind of feel where it has no carves whatsoever. It does have this luxury right here. It is pretty nice. But especially if you have it lower on the strap and you have your forearm more towards this side, you will be reaching over the body to reach it. So you could say that's a downside, but on the plus side, the bridge is going to be less in your way. Of course, I have played it some, so I have corroded or worn away part of the finish on the bridge, but in general, it doesn't really get in your way. You can do your chugs or whatever, your fast picking. These aren't just great for metal. You can do rock, you can do blues, all kinds of stuff on these, but the bridge is going to be more out of your way. And also you'll be pushing down on the body because it is a flat top. So that plus the belly carve will make it both sit against your body nice and have a little bit of tilt so you can look down at the fretboard and see what you're playing. But not too much, it won't be tilting too much. Aside from that, as I mentioned, it is a pretty substantial guitar. Not the biggest in the world, but not the smallest. There is some weight to it, especially with the trem system. Even though some wood is carved away, there's the metal of the springs and the mechanism and all that. So it does have some weight to it, but it is really nicely balanced. Alright, now let's talk about the S body series, the Ibanez S. You can see already that it is a smaller body. Of course it is a super strat, so it has the double cutaway. This one also has the 24 frets. But compared to the RG, this guitar here doesn't have the forearm carve, it has the arched top. So the whole body, you can kind of see the light catching it right there. The whole body has an arch to it, it's not a flat top. And you can see as I'm holding it up right here, the back too is arched. Here I'm catching the light, but there's no belly carve. The back is arched, but also it's basically almost flat besides the arch. So the arch isn't as extreme as the forearm carve, and the arch isn't as extreme as the belly cut. So that is a huge difference right there. That's the key difference. Also, the control cavity is going to be pretty small. Some guys are clever and they can fit a battery in if they're doing active pickups, but I could never do it. Of course, this guitar came with the active pickups stock, so it comes with the battery section right here. So because this guitar is so thin, that's the major selling point of it. It is pretty lightweight. If it has the trem system, this guitar does not have the trem system, but if it has the trem system, that kind of helps balance it out a bit. But this one doesn't, so it is slightly neck heavy. And then because it has the arch top, the bridge does feel slightly higher compared to the rest of the body. That can make the bridge feel a bit more in the way. So if you like the feel of the bridge right there, if you're palm muting and you need the bridge to be there, or if you anchor yourself against the bridge or above the bridge, something like that, If your muting technique depends on that, then this would be really nice. But because it has the arch on the back, that means there's no belly cut. So when it sits against you, it also goes out further. When you're sitting down, it's not as prominent, but when you're standing up, it does go out a bit more. So it does angle a bit more. If you don't like that, then maybe this guitar isn't for you. But if you do like that, then maybe give this a look. And then finally, originally the S had 22 frets. It was a 22 fret design. More recently, they've added models with 24 frets, as you could see. So because of that, they've done their best to accommodate for that. But if you do have a thumb behind the neck, you can see already I'm hitting the bottom horn more. It wasn't quite designed for that. If you're playing standing up and stuff, you could see I'm trying to simulate that. It is pretty fine, but already if you're getting lower down, it doesn't really work too well. So if you're like a super shredder or you really love your thumb behind the neck lower, you might have some challenges if you're playing up higher. Of course, I'm splitting hairs here. It's not impossible to play up high with the thumb behind the neck. This is just highlighting the difference between these two guitars for the sake of the conversation. So let's summarize. What are the main differences between these guitars? Well, the RG, it is heavier than the S typically. The RG is going to be perfectly balanced across the models versus the S. It might struggle a bit on the non-trem ones. It might be a bit neck heavy, as this one is. The RG has the belly cut, so it will integrate with your body more. Maybe if you don't have a belly yet, then that might not be necessary. The S, of course, has the arch top and the arch back. So if you prefer arch tops to flat tops with a forearm carve, it's no contest. This one's going to feel more comfortable. And of course, the RG is a little more accommodating to thumb behind the neck playing for upper fret access. But of course, it's not impossible on the S. So, which one of these would I pick? Which one would I recommend? Which one do I prefer? You're watching this video, you want my opinion. And of course, the safe answer is, of course, I wouldn't pick just one because I bought both. Both of these are my guitars. But that's not really helpful if you're trying to come to a decision. And maybe you can see behind me, but there is one of these that I have more of, and it is the Ibanez RG. And it's not just because there's more options available for the RG, which there are, but it's how the RG rests against my body. It's how it balances, it's how it plays, the fret access, all these things are important to me. Not to say that I would never play the S. Back when I was playing live shows, when I was gigging like a decade ago, it's been a minute, but back when I was playing live, I did play an Ibanez S. I had an S470, and that was a good time. I put the DiMarzio deactivators in that. I did it myself. It was fun. And I played that as my number one guitar. And that did have the 22 frets. I wasn't into really hitting the 24th fret back then. Now it's indispensable. I'm too far gone. So of course, making the switch from the S to the RG, it did take some getting used to. At first, the body felt really bulky and it was hard to get myself around it. But with some time, I got used to it. And then after that, the advantages of the balance, playability, I got used to the feel, so I like the feel. All those kept me coming back for more. So I would say try both if you can, if they're available, if they're around. Especially the S, it's pretty unique. It has the arch front and back. But the RG2, if you can't find one around, it is a pretty typical super strat shape. So there's a lot of brands that make this kind of body shape. ESP, LTD, Schecter, etc. Solars, although those in most countries you just have to buy direct. So look around. Either one of these you can't really go wrong with, but maybe some of the different attributes will tip you one way or the other. So there you have it. Was this helpful? Did I give enough information? Is there anything else you want to know? Any questions, comments? Be sure to leave them down in the comment section down below. You know, this is YouTube, so I have to say the YouTube things. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, print out every frame, mail it, give it to your neighbors, your friends, your family. And as always, peace.